I'm glad you asked me this question. Let's take the evil part and put it to the side for just a moment. What we're talking about is we're talking about impacts, right? The coal industry, mountaintop removal, pollutes water all over Appalachia, blows the top off of mountains, destroys communities, creates a health crisis. Unbelievably horrible form of energy extraction that is incredibly damaging. The natural gas industry creates thousands of fracked wells and huge gas fields, pollutes groundwater, creates air contamination situation, a health crisis. Those impacts are, I think, very, very equal in that sense. A coal-fired power plant in the middle of a poor neighborhood in Chicago or the South Bronx creates asthma, creates health conditions that are very, very bad for, poor people. The natural gas industry does the same thing with their volatile organic compounds that they're emitting off of those well sites in rural areas or in urban areas. In the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, the 7,700 gas wells that had been drilled by 2009 emitted as much air pollution as all of the cars and trucks in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which is our fourth largest city. Those impacts are similar. The gas industry contributes an enormous amount of money to contaminate the political system. $747 million to gain and keep the exemption to the Safe Drinking Water Act. The fossil fuel industries combined $150 million in the 2012 election. Both the coal and the gas industry are affecting our government. From the standpoint of climate change, coal emits enormous amounts of carbon dioxide. Natural gas emits less carbon dioxide, but as we've learned from recent studies and recent field reports, the Cornell study being the most, the real bomb in all this, that said that natural gas was losing 3.6 to 7.9% of all gas produced into the atmosphere. Gas is methane. Methane is 105 times more potent at warming, global warming, than is CO2. So when you combine the methane emissions and the carbon dioxide, you're actually worse than coal for gas on the 20-year time scale, and on the 100-year time scale, about even. So climate change impacts about the same. But let's just talk about evil for a second. I mean, evil is where you have a malicious intent, right? You're intending to do harm. That's evil. The coal industry and the gas industry both deliberately try to obfuscate information, interfere with people who are campaigning for their own health. The gas industry hired Hill and Knowlton, the same PR firm that the tobacco industry hired for decades to willfully spread doubt and misinformation that tobacco was connected to lung cancer. And we're watching the gas industry follow that exact same strategy, create misinformation, create doubt, put that out into the media, and say that all these families and these thousands of Americans that are coming forward are somehow not telling the truth. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether or not you would use the word evil, but I would say that that type of behavior it can't be tolerable in our democratic society, and it can't be justified in the name of energy production. There's no excuse for the way either the coal industry or the gas industry is operating. However, the good news is that this is a false choice to begin with. We would like, the coal industry and the gas industry would like to have a big fight between each other so that we can fight against. But the true question is, not how do we get off coal, but we have to get off coal, but how do we get off of fossil fuels in general? Fossil fuels are toxic fuels. They create impacts. They create an enormous amount of destruction in their wake. Renewable energy, however, can run the whole world. We know we have enough wind in the world to power the world 5 to 10 times over. We have a technological solution for this. So the good news is that it's a false choice, that we don't have to choose between evils, whether or not you could discern which one was lesser or which one was greater. We don't have to choose between evils. What we have to do, and what we're compelled to do by all of these impacts, by the looming specter of climate change, is begin to choose renewable energy and begin to choose renewable energy on a large scale.